You are comfortably zoned in Alameda Studios, the 421s. We're in California. I'm privileged to be not only in California, but joined by two California goyles, as it were, both comedians, and one, our old pal to these airwaves, Rebbeca Ward Kennedy. Welcome back, Rebecca.
Hey, it's good to be back.
Yeah, and we have a special guest. We were starting doing comedy together back in the 80s, and a woman who was breaking into stardom in the comedy world in the 80s when we started was my guest. Yeah, Carrie Snow. How are you?
Yay. Well, I'm confused as to where the Zig went off to. Wasn't it Ralph Zig Tyko?
Yes, but I am. It's Ralph. That's very interesting, Carrie. Very interesting. I go into the settings sometimes when you're a little high and play with them long enough, and they will restrict you from doing things. I'll just leave it at that. Play with stuff. It'll take some time to get me to be Ralph Zig Tyko again, so I had to put it in parentheses, which is another setting on there.
All I can say is, but I'm very happy to meet Rebecca on the airwaves, even though, they usually don't let two women comics on at the same time.
I know.
Oh, I would like
really
three women comics.
Whenever I see other comedians, I say, this is so great. Usually I have to make a casserole to see this many women comics. Because we have to meet in secret,
a lot of times when I see the list of comedians, I always think, it's really good to see guys getting into comedy. I think we need to support that.
Well, and you know what? They have so much to say about the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And in a story that I wrote for the LA Times, I read it this morning, and it's terrific. Go ahead.
Thank
you. Well, I put on there, I talked about seeing a bunch of guys in ties, which is what we sometimes would call the guys back when they actually cared enough to wear a tie. But and I asked a friend, I said, I don't want to upset anybody, any of the guys when I call them guys in ties. And she goes, oh, none of them think that's them. And so I guess it's that human thing where we all think we're special, because if we don't, well, I guess we're living in mainland China then.
Absolutely.
Carrie, one joke that you did that still sticks in my head is about finding a crutch when you were cleaning.
And what did I do to him so he could walk out without them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's always been one of my favorite jokes.
Thank you. And you know what? I should probably bring that one back. But, the thing is that you can go up to a comic who's been working a long time and tell them a joke, and you'll remember, but, we keep writing new stuff. And so that was germane to my life right now. If I found any crutches at my house now, I think, oh, good, it's here for me when I need it. So it's a different perspective, as it were.
I am finding a lot of crazy stuff after having moved. I got divorced a year ago, so I had to move out, and I've got 60 boxes in my living room, all labeled assorted, and I'm opening boxes, and I'm finding like old Holy City Zoo calendars where my name is hosting, and it's like, why did I keep all this stuff? Now I've got to go through it all.
I don't know why you did, because I did too. And I have so much stuff, and I have a cousin who's a librarian, and her dream would be for me to drag all that shit to her to her house and let her just wallow in it. And all I want to do is hope that it disintegrates. But, there's certain things I know that'll blow me away. A friend just sent me a letter that the Punchline sent out in 1979 or 80 for my first headlining gig there. And because that's back when you sent out a mailing. And usually I'd send out postcards. And I had 400 people on my mailing list. I used to go in Leafwood out on 18th and Castro. I mean, I was young and I had apparently a lot of energy. And and they would send out a mailer to people. That's how we communicated. And it just seems so quaint and archaic.
Mhm. Yeah. I think.
When did you?
So now,
what
happened?
happened?
I want to know what happened to Rebecca. When did I what?
I was just going to ask you, when did you first know that you'd be a comedian someday?
Me?
No, Carrie.
Me, because I want to know about if she wants me to call her ex-husband and talk to him. But as far as knowing when I was supposed to be a comic, I think when it dawned on me that it was possible, and that's probably when I did it the first time. And if you ever saw the documentary I Am Comic with Rich Scheidner, there's a scene of him at that nasty Chinese restaurant gig, and it's like watching somebody shoot up. It's so the look on his face as he realizes, oh, I forgot how much I liked this. And you realize that, I got out of getting beaten up in junior high school for saying something funny after I'd said something that I thought was funny that only I thought was funny.
Only you thought it was funny, not the big guy.
And then when these girls all stood around me and they were good, so I don't, but to transfer it and if, I don't know if people start out today thinking, oh, I'm going to make a living at this, and I just needed to express myself. And had noted, and the Holy City Zoo was coming back, and I went to some comedy workshops at Frank Kidder and Jose Simon.
Great San Francisco names.
Downstairs at, I guess, the church basement, and we'd take these classes, and all of a sudden 100 people would show up, and then Robin would walk in, and you'd like go, oh. And so, it's a perfect storm, just like anything else, of what would make, a college girl, well, I graduated, but I should have gone to graduate school, because then I could be overeducated and unemployed. Overeducated.
Yes,
but,
exactly. Fitting into a system that you're feeding, which is inherently wrong.
When I meet other women comics and you say, well, because once you've gone there, first of all, nobody wants you to marry into their family after you say you're a comic. And maybe it's a little more polite society now. And nobody wants you mixing your genetics with their family either, much less just dating. So you do turn your back on polite society. I didn't get married until, a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
to a fellow named Terry, if I remember the article. And that itself is a beautiful story. So you want to share that?
Make sure you share it with Rebecca so she, reads it.
Why don't you share it with the whole audience, because it's really cool.
I'm not going to read it.
No, but just paraphrase it.
I wrote a story.
Paraphrase your experience.
I first met my husband. We were supposed to have met through Bruce Baum. See, I can use names, because in the story, Bruce is the one driving and rolling a joint simultaneously. And I had read an article. I had read it. Bruce, of course, is mad that I didn't mention his name. And I go, Bruce, he'll get arrested, for God's sake. And he, and everybody that knew him knew it was him, because they knew that he was the one that had planted the seed. And I said, do you know anybody nice? Because I read some article that said if you really want to meet somebody nice, you can be on the internet and bang strangers your whole life. I don't want to point any fingers. But maybe having somebody who's accountable to your life and your community, and I never really dated the comics that much. That's what my next story is about confessing somebody to Terry. But we met by accident a couple of years later after I'd been to a seminar at the Writers Guild, a free seminar called Touch with Fire, Creativity and Mood Disorders. And out that if you're creative, you're going to have a mood swing on occasion, because it's part of a gift, and nothing is free. And it was your job to keep performing. And so I said, even though I was, we couldn't use the word screwed, I said doomed. I'm giving you the best edit on many levels. It was after 9/11. I lost my dad and was left with my crazy mother. I'd gotten fired and walked to my car with security by Roseanne. which 10 years later I thought, maybe the security guard came because I had so much stuff and he was helping. You never know. And so I go to the Improv, and I meet this guy that I was supposed to have met a couple of years before. I was involved with losing my dad and not having parties, and he was too shy to meet somebody. So we met with friends. We go out on a date a couple of weeks later. I come back to his yard, and I'm thinking in my head, should I kiss this guy? I'm old. I could get hit by a bus. And he had let a friend do his repairs in his backyard, and so none of the lights worked. And because he was a comic, he understood the fact that you get an indicator somewhere to let you know it's time for the next comic. So we're sitting in the yard. We make out. All of a sudden, a light right next to me pops on, and I internally jump about 8 feet. And Terry very calmly says, "I'm sorry, your time is up." And I don't even know.
Wait. My time is up.
I'm
they
sorry.
cut off the.
It was like
cutting off the thing. We'll be back another time. And it was lovely. It was a great time. I enjoyed the interview immensely, and we'll continue it.
Did it take me 3 days to tell the story? Did it take me 3 days to tell that story?
No, it's wonderful. It's tremendous. Listen, I don't even know if we're still on, whether we are or we're not. I'm going to end the show by
thank
the way
you so
I
much
usually do.
for finding me.
It was nice to talk to you again, Ralph.
I want to walk into a show one day and slam, the door with the audience behind me and go, "Don't you remember who I used to be?" And then slam the door. And then turn around to the audience and go, "Oh, well, no." Yeah, because people don't recognize me until I talk, and it's so fun to have somebody who remembers who I used to be. I appreciate it.
And speaking of that, I tuned in to try to find Carrie Snow on YouTube, and they have you on one of the YouTube things, but somebody took off the sound. So I'm watching you with your microphone technique and your hands moving. You are a superb technician on stage. As a technical comic, you draw nothing away. Those hands tell it all, not listening to any sound. So take that for what it's worth.
I'd be blushing if I understood.
Well, yes, you do, because you keep the microphone under your chin, and so you don't hide your face, and you move only when necessary. You change your expression to fit your joke. You're not just fidgeting, and so I was very impressed with that as an old guy who's done this and watched other good, really experienced people do it over the years, men and women, and don't judge me by my gender. I changed positions for my kids' first 5 years. I was the stay-at-home dad and to work. So I realized how people can pigeonhole, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what they say, the world is only going to change one baby boy at a time. It's a huge responsibility, you know.
That's a good quote.
Yeah. And Rebecca raised 3 young men in a coupled relationship that lasted much longer than mine. I was only around the house for 7 years, and then I was van man, but always there type thing.
Yeah, I went out.
Rebecca was there for 7 years. For how many years, Rebecca? 20-some odd years.
I was on a 20-year maternity leave.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never had kids because I was very busy on a diet and couldn't have fooled some poor guy into thinking I was going to be the same for 6 months, much less 6 years, you know. And so I still look with fascination at people that were able to do it. And I also gone to prenatal yoga classes, and those gals kicked my ass. And, of course, they introduced me because I'm a friend of the teacher, and the class fit in that day. And when everybody went around and gave their due dates, I said, and it was so sweet to see all these women so excited about being moms and taking care of themselves and their kids and not guilting them their whole lives that they lost their figure because of having them, like, you know, my mom did.
Yeah.
And it was so great. But when they all gave their due dates, I said, my due date is the 12th of never. And a lot of people, and those girls are strong. Well, because they're getting ready to, you know, pass a melon, as it were. So my hat goes off to you. Do your kegels,
yes,
as you
Rebecca.
know.
Absolutely. 3. I took care of one for 5 years, and it was absolutely exhausting by the end of the day, let alone to have 3 so close together. You did a great job. Adam is an inordinately talented guy.
Oh yes, I'm always proud of Adam. He's so super talented at anything. He even does as a little bit of a hobby. He ends up winning awards with it, and just astounding.
How old is Adam? Your first? Is Adam your oldest?
Yeah, he's 22, but he edited his first movie for the comedian Lisa Godaldig. He edited it when he was 17, and then it got started showing in Jewish film festivals, women's film festivals, even all around. Wow. Yeah, even in Berlin.
Jewish women and Jewish women film festivals as well. It's a smaller group, but they're much bigger than the old men's. They die much faster. Peace at last, everybody. Hey.
Well, you know, I always say I can't have kids because what are they going to do on Thursday when the New People magazine comes out? So you can tell that I didn't have the focus for that. I don't know how you did it, but, you know, listen.
Yeah, it was a great.
Yeah, and so how old is your youngest?
Well, he's 13. Yeah, so he's
much more work to do.
Yeah, he's in middle school now, and he's a doll.
That's so fun. See, I wouldn't have known what to do, and I got my first boy dog many years ago, and people came up and said, "Is this your first boy dog?" Because it was so apparent that I had no power and that I wasn't the alpha in that situation. So, yeah, you know. And but my sister had a boy and a girl, and you know, there's a way to change the trajectory of how you were raised just a little bit, and it just ends up arcing to make a huge difference. So, you know.
And they go on papers. It's much easier.
You're very cool. So,
all right.
All right, we'll go, and thank you so much, and let me know.
No, sir. I know how time you had to have your hair done today, so I know how. Well,
because
Kathy Gladman is a lot with, pardon?
They postponed. This is what happened, though. I still had to get my hair done because we got something tomorrow. And also, I'm a girl. But
that's right.
You know, the movie We Killed, the book about women comics, they changed the shoot. But, you know, I still have to get my nails done and go girl up for Valentine's Day. You know? And it's
you know, Carrie, that we're off the air. You're exactly the same either way. But they said your time is up. Your time is up. Way back, and I tried to stop you all. Can I email you both on the same email and set up another time when you both have time, and we'll continue. We'll get on again,
sure.
And I'll shut up less. I'll shut up more and let you guys talk. Pardon?
All right, let me ask you a question. Do you Miss Carrie Snow at AOL.com? MISS Carrie Snow.
Oh, no, I don't. But right at this minute. But if you will send me,
I'll put it on. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. I'm private messaging
there, and send me the picture that you want on this podcast.
Oh, all right. I'll go.
Put it right on there. Yeah, you do it. Do it within the next hour, if you would, because I want to post it.
I'll go in now and try to find a picture.
Okay. And Becky, you have many pictures up on the website of Comfortably Zoned. Everything good with Danny? Everything? Show going good?
I still co-host with him every Thursday. And
that's nice.
Yeah, he's still running his 3 showcases, and he's helped a lot of people. And Barry Silver up at Neck of the Woods, next door to the old Holy City Zoo. And, so it's just been really great. And Bob Sarlott shows up at.
So I'll come down with my little microphone, my little digital microphone, and I'll make some recordings, and we'll put them on.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great.
Beautiful.
I know that that Danny's show is not going to be this week at Neck of the Woods. He's got something else he's got to do, but almost every other week besides this week, he's there every week hosting.
Hey, Carrie, if you're still there, do you get up to San Francisco at all? Carrie? Oh, she's gone. Well, I was thinking that she might be someone who would be, when she comes up here, would be a nice surprise guest.
Yeah, that'd be great. It's always it would be like Robin Williams stopping in at the zoo.
Right, exactly. All right, so I'll email you guys on the same email, so we could keep in touch that way, because I think it's a tremendous dynamic on the show. And the only changes I'll make is that I'm just going to hand over the microphone to you when we do it, and you guys chat. I think that would, and me shut up. So, which is not easy for the older guy. You getting along? You lost shit the other day. I saw on Facebook. You lost your wallet. You lost your keys. You lost your lock. You lost.
I've
May I suggest a handbag that you can?
Yeah, I know, but anytime I have a purse, I always fill it up, no matter what size it is. And
that's true. That's absolutely true.
And just today, I just turned my purse upside down and put it all into a box, and I started pawing through it because I need to find quarters for laundry.
Right.
I have to start paying to do laundry again. I forgot that
I know the transition very well. And it's somewhat the same for a man as it would be for a woman in terms of, especially a man early on in my life who was rolled into the traditional way, not taught any of the domestic stuff, and never did pick it up. So here I am. And there you go.
And it's been crazy having to move from a 3-bedroom, 1,000-square-foot home down into a 1-bedroom, 500 square foot with no storage, and at least I had the whole basement at the other place to just stash stuff away, not have to deal with it. But now it is all right in front of me.
Oh, wow.
I'll get through it. I only the first night I spent here was January 13th. So just been dealing with it one box at a time since then.
That doesn't sound like fun, but it sounds like you're eventually going to be organized, because you're not just throwing it in a big heap.
Yeah.
You're taking it one box at a time, right?
Yep.
All right, Beck, we'll talk soon, huh?
All right, yeah, thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, you know that.
Okay, talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.